We ready? We had right around 110 total plays today. Um, we went one offense versus two offense versus one offense, three versus three, then came back and did good on good, 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, somewhere around close to 30 plays in those two racks a piece. And then we had a third down situation where we stayed out there 8 plays in a row. We had a high red situation, a low red situation, and then a 2-minute. And the 2-minute was very short, even though the one offense got the ball down there, able to kick a field goal. It was on a 50, 22 seconds, no timeouts, and they were able to get us in field goal range. Twos weren't really close on that. Some things that we have to work on are pre-snap penalties. When you're playing ones, twos, and threes, sometimes when you say you had 5 false starts, you're in panic mode. Most of those were with the younger kids still trying to learn. We've got to get better with that. We did have 2 illegal formations on the punt team that we've got to get fixed. We very limited holding calls, very few pass interference calls. Those are going to happen, but I thought we were good both in those 2 categories. But we kicked the ball off a couple of times out of bounds, and so there were, in my opinion, there was 9 penalties that we had that were just us, not where you leave it to an official and go, well, was that holding? Was it not? So those things we have to clean up. That's usually what happens in your first scrimmage, especially with your younger kids. But the tempo was good. I feel like our team is in pretty good shape. I think it's in good shape with 3 weeks to go. We're certainly not game ready, but we saw a lot of good things out there, and I'm sure you'll ask me some questions about it. So fire away.
Yeah, Coach, I'm sure you'll go back and watch the film later today, but just from what you were able to observe, anybody jump out, any standouts, notable plays?
Yeah, I thought, especially in third down, we all over the place, 4, 8, 11, 9. I thought our offensive line, one-on-one, I thought they protected extremely well. We were 6 or 7 for 8 on offense. Our wideouts are getting open. Matt Landers had a good day. Sategna had a good day. I'm talking about with some of the long balls. KJ threw the ball exceptionally well. On defense, there was a lot of sacks. Zach had some. Dorian Gerald had some. The guy I really like on the defensive front, playing his butt off, is Terry Hampton. I mean, he's playing really good football right now for us, and he just shows up all the time, everywhere. We're a little banged up in the secondary right now. Cadlon had a family issue that he needed to go to, and I don't want to make anything more out of that. It's truly a family issue that he had, that he needed to get back home, and I'd like to keep that, between him and I, if you would. But I wanted to tell you he wasn't out there. And then Knox caught a couple of good balls, 20 and a 35-yard. Cam Little kicked the ball well, made all 4 of his field goals. We missed one in the 2-minute drive, but overall, Drew Sanders made a lot of plays, and Drew made a couple sacks. He's a good player now, and so overall, Hazelwood caught the ball well. Our wideouts guys right now are playing really well. 84 caught a touchdown. Our wideouts are playing good right now, and I really like the young Sategna kid. I really like him. He did some really nice things today as well. But we got big wideouts. We got quarterbacks getting them to them. We're able to protect, and that's right now. That's a good thing. Rocket did some nice things, blocked well as certainly, and had some nice runs in there. So I don't know who else I've left out, but that's kind of what right off the top of my head.
You guys, last time we talked to you, you were kind of torn whether you go live tackle or thud up. Which one did you do?
We thought it, but it was a, it was a thud. Now, I mean, the thud to knock them down thuds, Uh, but I think we did the right thing. I think we came out, we had a few bumps and bruises going into it. And of course, we had some guys that are out, but they're all coming back. I guess if that makes sense, they're not season ending injuries, but we beat up a little bit. And then with Cat having to go home, we found you can either be disappointed or find somebody to replace him. And I think Brainy did a nice job back there. Jaden Johnson did a nice job back there. So, but we thudded, and it was really real physical. I thought the officials, we had SEC officials coming in today. I let them run the practice, and I mean, you had to knock the heck out of a guy for him to be down. And actually, it's harder to thud than it is to tackle because you can't leave your feet. You got to run your hips through, and you got to take another step, basically, in tackling and burying them. Right now, what we've done is we've taken our teach session, and teach usually is something new coming in. It's a more of a mental than a physical. It's about mid to end of practice where you're trying to give a little bit more of a kind of a mental. We're good mentally, but we're kind of taking a break physically, and we're putting in a 5-minute period there where we're tackling during that teach period, making an emphasis, having a tackle circuit that's what we're going to do. So we can make up for the tackling loss that we've had and what we will have in 2 scrimmages.
Any injuries or anybody get hurt out there today, or come out pretty good in that regard?
Well, you know how it always is. You don't know until they go see the trainer at the end. But let's say this: we didn't have anybody go out that didn't come back. So now we had some guys that didn't start. That didn't, got a few concussion guys, and they're not back yet. But other than we didn't have anybody that started that you're going, hey, he's not able to come back.
You talked during the summer when we've seen you in spring and a little bit preseason here about wide receiver, probably the biggest question on the offense, defensive line on defenses. Guys like Matt Landers, Isaiah, and then Terry Hamptons. Are those guys weren't here in the spring that have come on that make you feel a lot better about those 2 spots?
Yes. I mean, Hazelwood didn't bring to that room in the spring what he's bringing to it now. Part of that, I'm sure he's uncomfortable. He doesn't know the guys. But then you take him and you take Matt Landers, and then whatever happened with 84, Warren, whatever's happened with him has been a wonderful thing. And it may be these 2 older guys, along with Keytron, and then now I think you're piecing in Satagna. And I like our young kids too. That team, that group, that unit there has went a little bit to in the first 8 practices from, man, we've got a concern to, man, somebody else got a concern about our guys. Really pleased.
Coach, you mentioned the illegal formation on the punts, a couple of kickoffs out of bounds. I know you don't want penalties at all, but is it good that's happened now and you can kind of coach them up over the next 3 weeks?
Well, it's never good, look like a fool out there when you got your tackle lined up too deep. But, you're also, again, we got to get it corrected. But again, you're looking at 3 deep of all those units. We punted twice per unit, 1, 2, 3, 1s, 2s, and 3s punted twice a piece. We kicked 8 field goals plus extra points, and we kicked off 3 times, 1s, 2s, 3. And we were formation twice, and we kicked a couple out of bounds. That's I don't know how concerning that is today, but it's a first scrimmage. That's why you scrimmage. You got to try to make it as much as you can, and the atmosphere of a game. In other words, hey, we're coming off the sideline on the field, and this is it, and maybe a little bit of jitters there. But I'm not overly concerned about it because it hadn't happened at practice. It's just we've got to get it fixed. You're right. It certainly gives us a point of emphasis, to make.
You mentioned Brady during the spring. I think it took him a little bit longer to adjust, kind
Yeah.
of learn a new position. Do you feel now that he's, in the fall, he's starting to really pick up on things a
Yeah.
little bit better?
I think he's comfortable. Made some nice plays out there today. I love the kid. He I knew him when I was over at Georgia. But I think a little bit like Hazelwood, where it took him a minute to kind of know the people, and everybody's looking at him, because he started over there at Georgia and for the most part, and they won a national championship. Here comes this guy, and it's not only the way we're looking at him, how he's looking at us, and the same way with Hazelwood. He came in with all these, accolades out of high school and all this kind of stuff. And but to their credit, they've done a nice job, and now they're playing with confidence. And the team's done a nice job of accepting them on the football team.
Coach Shearer said yesterday that he felt like some of these new linebackers came because of players like Grant Morgan and Hayden Henry. So now, a few months out from their leaving, and now that you've had these new guys for a while, what kind of impact do you think that those two guys have left?
Well, I never thought Hayden Henry got enough credit. I mean, when he was wired, there was one short or two. I mean, he's crazy. I mean, in a good way. I mean, he's fearless. Let's say that. Crazy is the wrong word. He's fearless. 4th and 1, he's going to go in there and somebody's getting hit, him or somebody. I mean, he was at practice yesterday. He was invaluable to our football team. He really was. And Grant was everything as well. He was a little more vocal. I think when Henry talked, they were kind of afraid of him. When Grant talked, it was kind of, we're listening to you, Wonderful kids that loved Arkansas, and they loved the culture that our coaches, brought in here. And they'll be forever, we'll be indebted to them because they recruited, they're recruiters as well. So yeah, they're really good players and better people.
As far as those linebackers like Pupal and Manny Powell and some of the younger guys, just what have you seen from them so far, and what are your expectations there?
But anytime you have somebody that's leading the charge like Grant did and Hayden did and really Bump, now you got Bump, and then Drew kind of, he's that guy now, he's kind of that bumper pool type guys look at him that way. So now you got Crook and Manny Powell and Henley, and then of course Pupal. It gives them something. It shows them how to do things correctly. It shows them how to work on and off the field. It shows them how to run to the ball and all those things. It's like anything. It's like if you're in a small high school and you're the strongest kid in the school, and let's say, and I don't want small high schools get mad at me, but let's say you're benching 300 pounds, and man, you're walking around like King Kong Bundy. And then you transfer to a 6A school, and 300 is 25th in there. Sometimes you have to see it before you actually know how far you can take your body and take your mind. And if one thing we have is you're seeing Bump do it, you're seeing Drew do it, and now they're going, hey, they can do it. I've got to do it. And eventually they're able to do it too. I don't know if that's a good analogy. I came from a small school and then went to a bigger school, and I wasn't strong at the small school or the bigger school, but I just was visiting.
Coach, you talked about Satania. You've talked about how smart he is. I'm curious what else stands out to you that, you come and you say, I really like that
He's
kid.
fast. And I tell you what, he can cut on a dime, man. Guy's got great ball skills. And he's just a really good player, sometimes if you're not the biggest guy, you have to have special skills, and he has them. I mean, he can separate, really good hands. He doesn't say a word now. He just comes and goes to work every day. I really like the kid, and I like him a lot when he runs by people. I like him a little bit more, but that's what he had. He's got super speed now.
And then just any other younger guys that stood out to you today, well, maybe freshmen or just younger guys.
Well, I thought Crook had a good day. Young ones. Chambly had something to do with the shoulder. I don't think it's bad or anything, but he did not come back. That's one that did not. But Chambly was playing. He's up playing with the twos. He's doing a good job. And Marion Harris doing a good job. Kudus is a guy that's going to be a really good football player up front. I anticipate him making a huge charge towards the two deep. And then I really like, and they played well today. Bakke caught a nice pass or two today. And Quincy McAdoo, man, I just really like Quincy McAdoo. He's faster than what I thought he was when we recruited him, and he's tough. I mean, he's Arkansas. I really like him. But those are the guys that stick out, right? Oh, I'd be Nico Davier. Nico Davier made some big time plays today as a young guy. He's gonna play for us now. There ain't gonna be no red shirt. No, I mean, he's gonna be on the field. He's a good player.
A minute ago, your cornerbacks. Do you feel like you might rotate a little bit more at corner this year, and maybe can you evaluate how they've done?
Yeah,
in
I
camp?
think there's, obviously, we talked before scrimmages and how we're going to play the players and all that, but you have HUD and certainly have Malik Chavis. Those two guys are running most of the time out there with the ones, and then you got Nudie, Dwight McLaughlin, and then you got Day. Those guys are right there. So, and who knows what's going to happen in the next 21 days. I will say this: Keywan Parker is really playing well. So is Kyrie Johnson. They're doing a good job. We're better than we've been since I've been here at corner, which is allowing us to do a little bit more on defense. But I think if you're looking at battles on our team, to me that's the biggest battle that we have is corner. And probably the next one is who would run out there with your ones at wide receiver, because you obviously have Keytron and Matt and, Warren. And so I don't know, they're all really good players, though. Good players.
Are you closer to making some decisions at kick returner, punt returner? Who's in the mix?
We're close. Satagna's one of them. He's one of them. Slush is one of them. Hazelwood's one of them. 14. Bryce Stevens is a more punt than kickoff. I know I'm missing one guy. Harper Cole is also back on the punt returns, but right now I think you're looking at I didn't say Landers, but you're looking at Landers as a kickoff guy, and well as those other guys. And then on the punt return, you're looking at Bryce and probably Satagna as trying to fight that one out there on the punt return. I don't have any problem playing a freshman back there. This kid's, anytime you compete like he has out of high school and all the state championships, he's played in track, and he's played on a really, quality high school team. As long as we give him enough reps, I'm not going to worry about him. I mean, he's a special guy.
So AJ's not in on the mix on kick return. AJ Green.
Oh, I'm sorry. AJ Green is part of that mix too. I'm sorry, I missed him. Certainly, yes.
Since you mentioned that Takias is working over on the right side, battling with Dalton, I don't think we even asked you about Luke Jones, but he's the one, I guess, non-incumbent back on the offensive line. What has he been doing, and is there competition over there?
I told Cody the other day, I said, we don't talk a whole lot about him, and if you don't talk about an old lineman a whole lot, that's a good thing, because he's not sitting out there getting embarrassed. And Luke's done a really good job. I mean, he really has, and they put a lot of guys over him. The hardest guy to block off, coming is Drew Sanders. I mean, he's a hard guy to block, long and strong and all that, but he's done a nice job over there. Obviously, Devin Manuel would be the guy. We could move Brady Latham out, if we needed to as well. But we haven't felt the need to move Tykees Crawford over there yet, which I thought going into camp that we may, press Luke a little bit more with the Tykees, but I don't think we need to. Tykees played several reps with the ones at right tackle today as well. He didn't start, but but he's done a really good job. So I don't think there's really any need to do more than what we're doing is get Devin Manuel ready and have Brady Latham as well have an opportunity to play left tackle, which he has at practice, and he did today actually.
About Malik and Fortin, how those Malik
Big
Hornsby,
battle.
obviously.
I mean, it's a good battle. I mean, obviously Malik has so much to offer in speed and all those things. And Malik actually got several reps at wide receiver today as well, which allowed us, to rest him a little bit and put Fortin in there. Fortin played with the twos some, not all. I mean, he didn't start with the twos, but he played some with the twos today and did a nice job. I like Fortin. So there's a battle there of at that spot as well. And like I said before, he allows us to do what we've been doing with Malik.
That was one of my questions about Malik playing wide receiver today, but also at defensive end, you got Shad Stewart, Zach Williams, and then Dominic and Landon Jackson. How is that race for who starts there? How's that shaping up right now, Coach?
Well, as of right now, Stu's playing the best of them, I think. He's gotten bigger, stronger. Zach's played really well as well, but I think Jordan Dominic not Jordan Dominic. I keep messing up. Jordan Dominic. He had a great last 3 or 4 days. He just didn't know how to practice like we like to practice, and I actually put it up in front of the team and said, since 1902, this is the worst D-line rep I've ever seen. Told him I'd went back in the archives from 1902 of every high school, every college. I was mad, but he got the hint, and man, he came on. Landon Jackson's always had a motor. I think he's been out, long enough to where he's got to get back in football mind shape, whatever. He's going to be a really good player for us. Those four I really like. And then what do you do with Nico? Because Nico's going to play now. Nico's a good player. And so what we've done, because Cam Ball's been out with injury, we've moved him inside. But I think Nico can play inside or outside. I really do. I think he's going to be a really good player.
He and Eric Gregory will probably be playing in and out mode.
There you go. We kind of look at now. Eric's 300, Nico's about 280. But Nico ran down a ball today now that a 280-pound guy shouldn't be able to do. I know I can't. That's about where I'm hovering, but had a good summer.
I was going to ask you about Nico. I mean, how receptive was he to moving inside the other day? And what have you seen from his just like mentality and mindset? And
he just wants to play. I mean, I tell you what, and it goes back, and his mom and dad are so great. I mean, great people. It's so much fun to be around. They raised this kid big time. He'll do whatever. We got him on every special team. I mean, you don't find many guys that's that big, that's that athletic at his age, and that have a motor. And he does. I'm really high on him. I think he's gonna be really good for us.
Talked earlier about game shape, just in terms of overall level of competition and level of execution. How close is the team to where you want them to be at 3 weeks out before the start of the season?
As a whole team, not real close. We got a lot to work on. I've been bragging on some positions, but you got to put them all. You can't just have a really good player over here, good players over. You got to put it all together. I thought the second half of the scrimmage, I thought we put together a little bit on both sides of the ball, playing well together. But we're not there yet. The first part of practice, the first part of fall, a lot of times is you're not worried about playing together as a team. You're worried about surviving practice, and it was hotter than hot, out there. And then the next mode you go is you're wondering, you're worried about your position and where you're at on the depth chart. And at some point that all comes together is, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Now, how do I make my teammate better? We're not there yet. no, we're not a team that's bickering and fighting and all. I don't mean that, but we're not a unit yet. We got some good players and we're not a consistent unit on anywhere yet, but we're further up, we're further along right now than we were last year at this point.
You mentioned earlier Trey Knox caught a 20 and 35-yard pass. Just want to make sure that I heard you correct. That was Trey Knox who caught those.
Says right here it was.
Okay. With him,
I'll be honest with you. You guys ask me all kinds of questions. I saw this. I don't even see it, and
Yeah.
I don't want to play it off like I did, but it says right here, I did see him catch these two particular passes from KJ. And if it wasn't true, then blame him because he's the one that wrote it down. But yes, I remember it.
about him as a blocker a couple of days ago. As far as him as a pass catcher, he was a great wide receiver as a freshman. How are you liking him there? He's bigger. He's a tight end now. I'm sure you like him now.
I think he really gives us something there that nobody could possibly love Blake Kern more than I do. I love him. He just gives us a little bit more of a pass catching guy. Blake Kern was one of the most improved guys, in my opinion, on our team. I mean, I love him to death. But I think Trey gives us everything we would like to have in that tight end position. And he's working his way, trying to get in shape. And as you know, he had a back that was stiff on him and things of that nature. But he's always been a willing blocker. He hadn't always been a great one. And now with his body that he is and working full time at tight end instead of moving him from wide out to tight end has really helped him. I think he'll have some type of a career playing tight end. I really do. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, Coach Dorian.
Yeah.
He looks a little bit lighter out there too. But what kind of role does he have? I know we know his journey with all the injuries.
Yeah, Dorian. I actually put him. By the way, I made up with those guys on the 1902 because I found clips during practice when they were hauling it, and I put it back on there. And one of them was Dorian, and because he was on the 1902 team, and so was Jordan. And so I made it up to her because I kept trying to find one where they were just busting it, and they did. And Dorian, I think the first 4 or 5 practices was, am I really healthy? Am I really okay? Am I really, all this, I need to save myself. I've been hurt all these years. And then I felt like the last 3 days, he just said, hey, look, it's a physical game. I don't know why I've been hurt before. I feel good now. I'm going to go play. And he had 2 or 3 sacks today, and chased the ball well. He's finally, his biggest problem to me his first 5 or 8 days was him up here wondering, I've been injured so much. Am I going to stay healthy? And if you don't ever chase the ball and you stand there and all that, you probably stay healthy, but you be really healthy on the sidelines, And he finally figured out he's got to go, and he did. And I love the kid. He's done well last 3 or 4 practices.
And last, I don't want you to spoil any surprises or anything you got planned, but is there anything that you got as far as like team building stuff or an outing or a speaker, anything like that?
It's amazing. And I see that other coaches doing it all the time on Twitter, and it looks fantastic. That's just not me, I probably should be, Trey. I don't have any plans for that. We know we had the University of Arkansas police come in, and they had a dog that went up there and started, trying to bite on some people, and had one that there was a explosive, and the dog went over and sniffed it out, That was kind of entertaining. And then I forget what 2 kids put that on there, KJ wasn't one of them, by the way. I can promise you that. That dog started coming across there for that was kind of exciting. But the rest of I'm terrible at that. I am. I'm horrible at it. I know it. Here, I think the kids a lot of times at night, they'd rather go home than because you're rolling the dice a lot of times on who's speaking. Are they any good or not? or can they get through to your team? Now, what you're talking about, we did all summer. We had those this summer because I consciously said I don't want to take more of the kids' time with inspirational speakers and all that. We did all that stuff in the summertime, finances, all that kind of stuff.
Thanks, Coach.
Good to see y'all.